it's been about 7 months now since DAD-rahpy released. We've been on this roller coaster of, the way it was getting done. And then now the roller coaster has been going up of just like awards, film festivals, acceptance, people just loving it. So I just want to do a recap of us creating it, the afterworks, everything, and
your journey through it.
And you just hitting on just now, like just the response that you've been getting recently, and this is gonna be a natural conversation of like,
sure,
this is a DAD-rahpy convo.
This is, first of all,
and celebration.
Absolutely. I was about to say, when you do things, when you do things out of love, like the fruitions of love, and how those things blossom and how they come organic, like, right, like just even like how this all came together organically, and then how, like, put it in the festivals and everybody's like, but the response that I've gotten, I've gotten calls from people that I didn't know have my number. Okay. Some social media people that like, they're like, hey man, this is amazing. Shout out to Ivan Manita. He was one of the first people. He reached out to me and he was like, when I'm editing my stuff, I'm watching you guys and the stuff that you guys are doing. You guys made me cry and all this other stuff. And this is a guy that, this is a busy guy. Yeah, he took time out of his schedule to call. His that was a really nice call. I mean, there was many of them, but I want to say him was really nice. But yeah, as soon as I start talking to people and then they're like, oh yeah, that's this is that, and then they start telling me like, how much it helped them with their relationship, or to see something in their relationship with their kids or with their parents. I've been completely blown away as far as like, because when we did this thing, we did this more as like, an art and for us to express ourselves, to show a different perspective of fatherhood, especially being Afro-Latinos, and how that's not seen. There's big conversations happening right now as far as like, representation, Latino representation in television, and how it's only 50%, whatever, and the representation that we are getting. And to see all of those things, and then for us to have something that's in-house, is just like, there's only like 4 or 5 of us, you know what I'm saying? And we're pouring it, and we just doing it the way that we want. Like, we're telling our story, and hopefully other people are relating. It's been extraordinary, man. And something as intimate as parenthood and fatherhood, it's crazy.
I want to ask you, Jerry, and also you, Wend.
Yes, sure.
This journey, like you guys basically played yourselves more or less, and during this time that you were in it, what do you feel like you were working on while you were doing it, and then how do you feel now afterwards? Is there what's a gift that you received from that? Can you explain a little bit about that, both of you?
I think there was a couple things going on for me while I was creating this or writing this. The expressing the challenges that I was going through with fatherhood, accepting fatherhood. Also coming out fully to express how I found my dad, but now everyone's always asking like, how's that going? And I would get the constant questions, are you guys talking? Are you guys hanging out? Blah, blah, blah. And I would just lie and say, yeah, we talk, but the reality was that we wasn't. And I didn't feel like always expressing that to people. So this show like really allowed me to find peace with that, to be like, yes, you did your part. It didn't go kind of like the little hope that you had, like, we're going to build a relationship, but it's okay. It's fine. And he no longer is in control of how you feel, what I'm saying? He decided to take a different route. So it helped me with that. It also helped me with, being honest that like, it's okay to feel these fears and these things that I have about fatherhood. And it was refreshing to find somebody else just to chat about it too in fatherhood. Just like, it's normal. And, also having the confirmations, like how Gru would tell me too, like what you feel, it's normal. It's fine. Right. There's going to be days that like, I don't want to do this, or this shit is hard, or this is annoying, or damn, this is every day. Like, so that was another one. And then another one for me was like, do I still got it? Like, cause I what I mean by that, do I still got it as like, it's been since the pandemic happened, it's been some time since I performed, since I put anything out. Yeah, I'm doing the podcast, and yeah, like, you know, I had success writing and creating these shows and performing them. But it was a moment of like, and I shared this with Jerry, like you seeing everybody. I don't know. It's like you seeing all your friends putting, yo, I just got on to be the main character of this show. Like, it's like, yo, HBO just reached out to me for no reason. They want to give me a fucking green light deal. And I'm just like, I'm happy for them, but it's like, then after, like, you're not performing, but you're like, shit, like what's going on with me right now? Like, did I do something wrong? Like, you like, not that you become insecure. You're like, I think for me it was like, what rabbit am I gonna put out the hat now? Because there's the point that I'm not doing this for the recognition or the thing, but I am still doing this for me. But there was a point when, but damn, I miss creating something. Sure. And I've been, stagnant in a way that like I created another show, the 1 man show, but I can't perform it. So then I'm like, man, like, can I still create something that's still going to affect me, and then at the same time maybe affect others, right? So that helped me to realize that no matter what breaks you take, whatever is meant for you will be meant for you. As long as you keep writing and do it out of love, it will be received that way, and it will go, and you just have to trust the unknown. So just creating something, knowing that like I did this for me and I was happy with it, and then we was happy for it, and then seeing that individually everybody had a purpose in their own individual journey with the show, and it helped them with some type of thing, was just a blessing as well. And then just seeing like the reactions, and it wasn't about the awards or the film festivals, because what started first was when we was creating it. I was like, man, this is fun, this is great. We're going through the motions, and like we knew that we had something for us. Now the other level was of excitement is like, oh shit, people actually love it and they're feeling it like how we're feeling it. That was like the cherry on top as well. It's like, man, that's dope. And then now it goes to other levels of awards and film festivals. Like, this is surreal. And then it was like, for me, it was like, I still got it. Like I was like, I still got it. Like, I still got it in the sense of like, and it was like, bro, when you put yourself out there and it's come from the heart and the truth, nothing can stop where it's supposed to go. And it was a confirmation again over and over with these projects. So those are things for me that it showed me and still showing me. So yeah, Jerry,
no, look, and I mean, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on what you said as far as like, you come a point in life where like, whatever's for you, whatever's meant for you will be there when you're ready and when it's ready to be, when it's ready to happen, So in seeing all these people around us succeeding, in their own way, one was it's always one of my biggest confidence boosters, because I'm like, that's how close we are. That's how close we are to getting what it is that we, to being in the same position as they are, or getting the TV deal, or it's just a matter of like the right project, how everything comes together and who you talk. It's all alignment, right? But if there's something that, as far as the show for me, it was three things. It would help me. It helped remind me how far I've come from the work that I did to get over that stuff with my father, because it was tough. It was a thing where there had to be work put in. As far as that relationship. So being that I was okay and I had worked on that, but stepping back into that, it was a healthy reminder, because I'm also stepping into different stages of my relationship with my daughter. So I have to be reminded of some of those mistakes so you don't repeat them and stuff like that. It also helped me. It was working on like my craft. The fact that this was like the first thing that I got to do that was drama, with full support from you guys, which I completely appreciate and love about that. And the trust. And, people, they'll give me 100 million jokes, but they would never give me something that could touch other people or perhaps help me, show my vulnerability, and acting wise. So, and then in seeing it, since we've done it, like I know I'm not as like I got the confidence now to be like, I mean, it's not that I didn't have the confidence, but you guys know I was like, say I don't know, but now I'm more willing to like, okay, no, let's go, let me go there. I know what I kind of feel like where I need to go as far as and I use
it was like you said, I'm gonna let you go on, but it says I remember you said, I know it's in me. It just was never offered to me.
Right.
So now like it's in you, and now you saw it. And now you're like, there's no going back. I know. And I'm not gonna wait for anyone to give it to me. If they give it to me apart, I'll take it. But now you're like, the same way you was able to write comedy, it's like I could write drama stuff for me too.
Yep.
Because I know it's in me and I saw it and I'm gonna do it.
Downstairs I'm gonna get something else.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's fine. We could edit.
It's fine.
This.
No, it's also this is all part of therapy.
Okay. Oh, thanks.
She's in the cast anyway.
She says I'm doing a good job.
Awesome.
And then she's going to the bathroom.
And she's in the cast. She could have been in it.
She's getting a pee break.
Ask a mini question.
I'll bring her on. And then I guess the most important part for me has actually been the bonding and the forming of the relationship that I've had and I've started with you guys. Like not only just artistically, like, building something beautiful, but also like the friendship that we've bonded and like these, you're these group of these two people that I now keep in touch with, and I keep, I have y'all like, oh man, I wonder how they doing and stuff like that. Like there's a bond that was formed while we were filming.
And it was like naturally. It started from a podcast that we did, and then now on set, Zooms, then actually being on set, and then after that, it kept on growing.
Shout out to Salon Chronicles was on last week, and they were asking, like they were very. I went on to promote my podcast, but we ended up talking about DAD-rahpy.
Oh, nice.
And a lot, and but it was one of those things where like the audience got to see our relationship, you and me, Riggs, or relationship actually organically grow on screen too.
Yeah,
the bonding and everything. Just to be able to to actually see that being like that first scene that we're filming, it's really our first scene together. Regardless of us being friends and knowing each other, first scene together is actually our first scene, and we're actually like, hey, so what's up? We're feeling each other acting wise, like we're getting to know each other acting wise, and what's our rhythm and what's our vibe, and to see that chemistry kind of take off right away, and then to what it grew up to, and for it to, again, for me, the biggest piece that I've taken away is the friendship that I've been able to walk away with you guys. And and that nowadays is probably the one of the most important things.
Family. Family.
It is.
I mean, and it goes nice.
Back. I just wanted to comment a little bit about what you said about how your relationship grew. It grew at your relationship. You saw how what beautiful was is that it was naturally grew within the characters and as yourselves.
Right.
And you just saw that bond build. So I just wanted to say.
No, it's true. I mean, beautiful. It's like you see it because of how it started, but even like it's very genuine moments because we were searching for the truth. We had a script which kudos, it was written well, but we left it, and I wanted for me actors as well to leave it open to explore, and we kept exploring truth together where we went off and knew what the script was about, but we went off and found certain things that came out of from the inside, which to me was which the scene, of course, with me and Cloud, which you was like, you kudos to your directing on that tail. It was like we was all there, but you came and gave us directing pointers on there, and I remember once we was done, you was like, no, that was it, like because you guys went. But one of my favorite moments was the ending when we're on that bench and you say
we're all thanking each other.
And it was like, I'm proud of you. But that was a moment.
That was real. That was real.
Moment. I was like, I'm proud of you. And I naturally said thank you and I hug you. And then Cloud hugged us. I'm like, that was a real moment.
That was real, genuine.
That wasn't in the script. And I was like, one of those things is like but like a great cherry on top
Results.
moment
Yeah,
result.
yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah.
like the relationship and how it
Yeah.
built, and you saw that.
Listen,
journey.
you drew a beautiful map. You
Yep.
know, maps are great, but it's the journey, right? Because you
Yeah.
don't know, like on the map, you don't see ditches, you don't see. I mean, if you want to draw them, that's fine.
Yeah,
But you don't see traffic jams, you don't see
No.
you don't see
Yeah.
that shit. So there's stops and goes along the way,
Yeah.
and you drew a beautiful map,
You
and
sure
we
did.
followed that journey, and it was and then like the X on the map was even
Yeah.
greater than we
Yeah.
actually first thought it was when we first went looking
Right.
for it, you know.
Mhm.
There was another thing too I wanted to share that this what was, I guess, what I was questioning, and I think I shared this with Guru as well, but I don't think I shared this out loud. Was I wanted to know. I've been working with Guru for so long on myself and stuff and on projects that I think I wanted to know if I was able to do something on my own.
Mm.
That I'm like, I know she taught me so much and I learned from her and I love working with her when it comes to our projects.
Yep.
And
You left the nest on that one. Yes.
yes, I
Yeah.
wanted something to like, I wanted to be secretive that what I was working on,
Sure.
that I wanted to take the time that when I presented to her, I wanted her to see it and be like, wow, like
Mm.
Right.
this was like, of course, there's areas that could have been better if I was involved, which I knew I was gonna. Anything could be better when, like,
Yeah,
you know, what I'm saying,
yeah, yeah.
if you have
That's
a
different.
but-
Hindsight is
but-
2020. Yeah.
right, and I knew that like if she was involved, certain aspects would have been. But this,
Right.
I wanted to prove to myself, and I don't think it came from like an egotistical
No,
place
no.
that like, oh, I could do it on my. It's like I wanted to prove to myself that like I wanted to leave the nest and see, am I capable of doing something, and I wanted to, like, I'm taking on a couple things, working on the project with my wife, and we never
Yeah.
did something like this.
Yeah.
Directing together.
Showing
Yeah.
Latino colors, like
Mm.
taking a chance with Jerry. That I didn't think that it was a risk, but I'm like, I knew we could create something.
Sure.
I'm like, and I'm juggling so many one-time things that I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
can I do this without?
And I'm gonna be
picking
honest
up
with
that
you,
phone?
man. I'm gonna be honest with you, not to cut you off. I'm gonna be honest
Yeah.
with you. You know, I've been in the industry for a while. There's a lot of things that I've and I did a couple times. Like if there was something like we were like, oh no, you know, maybe we should do it like this, just because I know the terms or whatever. But for the most part, there was a lot of stuff that and mind you, I direct too. So it was and there were times where you want to be like, you should do it,
Yeah.
But even it was so organic. And it was so genuine, and it was so like that. I was like, I'm not even. This has to be Rick's vision. Like it has to be Rick, and it has to be Alex's vision. It has to be their. It has to be their vision. I can help. I'm gonna, which I did. I put in where I could, but the experience. I could sit here and tell you all the terms. You have to go through the experience yourself. Now, just from filming the first time and editing and going through all of that shit. Now when you're filming. Hey, I'm gonna get this shot just in case for this. And that's something that sometimes when you're doing stuff with experienced people, they forget that you need to have that experience too in order for you to see it. It's not always something that can be explained. And in doing these things, like I was never gonna let us fucking fall off the rails and do some like real whack shit. But there are things where I'm like, no, the rawness of that is what's gonna work. The rawness of that is
like
what's gonna
fit.
fit.
The kitchen, remember?
Yeah.
When we had that combo after?
Absolutely. Like that. There were so many authentic things. Like even like the poem, doing it in one shot. Those are probably not things that I would have done. But then seeing it, and then when we were doing it, you question it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, all right, but I was like, but you know what? I'm not gonna question because I'm in actor mode right now. I'm just doing what I'm being asked of me. But then seeing it put together, but I also knew, again, from a little bit of the experience that I did have, I did feel like I was like, God, I don't want to mess with this. Like they're seeing something, and then you remember there was like you took away another shot, and you were like, no, I just wanted like this. And I remember you guys discussing that, and I was just like, okay, let's go, let's go with it. And then that's the other thing. Like I learned to
step aside.
I mean, and trust.
Trust.
Trust
is the
I'm
word.
so used to trust is the word, and I'm so used to like being counted on to be the answer or like to have the direction that sometimes you just like when you have to remember what lane you're in. Like, oh, wait a minute, I'm just acting. I should concentrate. I shouldn't be worried about
Yup.
placement, because at the end of
Yup.
the day, that's not my responsibility, you know. And
I think
Mhm.
and that I love that you used the word trust, right? And that was a
Yes.
gift that I earned from you, right? Because there
Yeah.
was a moment where maybe the third time we're on set and I was explaining something and you said, "Bro, I trust you."
That's
Like,
right.
but
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
Ryan, you like you just shared now that you have moments where you're like you question certain things,
Mhm.
right? But you know what? I'm just staying the actor, and that's a normal thing when you wear
Sure.
multiple hats.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think, and it was beautiful to hear that because I'm connected. It was beautiful to hear. I remember that meant a lot to me because as a first
And it
time,
was
whatever,
real. Yeah.
learning how to
Yeah.
direct or whatever, or
Yeah.
I knew how to like I had the basics and I know I could do it right and tell the story. So, and that meant a lot for me coming from you. I think, like I said, it was like the third day on set, whatever, and I was explaining something, and like me and my wife, we built that trust.
Yeah.
But coming from you, another actor, another creator, another director, be like, bro, you got it. I trust you. All right, let's do
Yeah.
it.
And I
And like,
did.
and it
I
was
did.
earned, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he's seeing me now in a different light.
You guys held
And
me like
now-
a baby, and these see like you
Yeah.
guys like again, and not only that, like you have to think about environment. You have to think about
Yeah.
it was all there.
Mhm.
So like, and I told you that like I was very grateful. Like you have an environment that I could bring my daughter to, and she can be on
Mhm.
set all day. That's why I've never
Yeah.
had that.
Where she
Mhm.
felt
There's other-
safe.
Where she felt safe, where everything
Yep.
was like I could work without,
Yeah.
you know, because
Worrying.
I've brought her on set before, and I'm like, is she okay? You know,
Yeah.
it's in the back of your mind.
Except for the part with the ants.
with the ants attacked her.
Oh,
What
the
was
ants-
wrong? What
oh,
was
I was not there. That one.
Yes, you were.
I probably was having I was battling anxiety, so I probably had an anxiety attack at that
forgot.
moment, and I
Yeah,
probably
you
forgot.
When we're doing
No,
the
you
gazebo
yeah,
scene,
the we
and then
gazebo scene. I'm doing
it
the
was cold.
poem.
Oh, I know she was
Yo,
cold. I didn't know she was
Maya
being
was
attacked
like,
by
"Oh
ants.
my God,
The ants. Yeah.
I remember the cold, but I didn't know.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It was so funny. It was so funny.
There-
But
there
again,
was-
we have those moments, like you know,
Yeah.
here's something else you guys don't even know. You guys don't even know, right? Because things happen so you can remember, like certain things happen so your memory can stay fresh, right?
Yeah.
So that day, remember, I had to take a Mai with me and whatever, and we ran a little
Yes.
behind, whatever.
Yeah.
So that morning, I'm getting up and I'm like many times, I'm a klutz. I banged my foot on the
Oh.
staircase. Okay, I banged my toe on the staircase. Bah! On the way up, through the socks. Coño,
Ooh.
hurts, whatever, blah, blah. So then I get to your house.
Yeah.
Man, the pain's still there. It's not going away. And I remember there was one, y'all were filming and I was in the living room by myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my foot was throbbing. Right? But I didn't say nothing to nobody, but I was
You
really in pain.
didn't. I would have
No, I
gotten you
didn't.
ice. I mean,
No, it was fine. So I
It was
go
like
and
the I'm gonna get you sucker with the big
yeah.
toe.
Oh my God. So then when I see it and it's just like bruised, I was like, oh shit, like I've really banged my toe. Like I'm like, but I'm bending and I'm like, I didn't break it because I'm bending it,
okay.
but it hurts because it's my big toe.
Yeah.
So then, okay, we filmed that whole day, but I just remember like
That was a
certain
long-ass day,
scenes.
too.
Yeah, and I remember certain scenes walking us, like making sure that like I didn't like limp, you know,
No.
because I was in your living room. I was like, yo, shit, like okay.
Oh damn.
Yo.
I get home, I take a shower, and like just like blood comes out from that nail, just all over the place. It's like, oh, whatever. And I was like, well, at least I'm not, it banged it, whatever, And then somebody goes, oh no, you're gonna lose that toenail. You're gonna lose that toenail.
Oh.
It's gonna fall off. And I was like, nah, it isn't. Yo, 2 weeks later, I'm putting on my socks, that shit came flying off.
Oh.
So then and then I'm just like,
Yo,
that's how.
memories for life.
Yeah.
And you freak out because that's one of those things you're like, no.
Yeah. It goes.
And then I'm like Googling, it takes 6 to 18 months to go. I'm gonna be 18 months with no nail on my toe.
It grows up fast.
Which, by the way, no, it grew back. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
it grows
good.
fast.
But there's certain scenes. I'm looking at the show and I see like, and I was like, oh my God.
That was
I
when
think
your
I like a little pang right there.
Mm.
That
helped.
was
It helped you.
hilarious,
It helped
yo,
you.
that did help.
It probably did. I don't know. I didn't have to do my
Oh
drama stuff that day,
my
but I
goodness.
forever now have like that day of filming and Amaya was with me.
toe.
And then on top of that, I lost my toenail. Never happened to me
Oh my
before.
God, that's so
And I lost my toenail. So there you
funny.
go. That's a trivia question
Yeah.
for the
That
DVD when it comes out.
that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
there was there was also I think for me, just like learning from you guys, what was so powerful for me, what helped me was to there was I don't know moments. Like for me, like I don't know what's good. And sometimes we bump heads where I will give her so much power and control, and then she'll like throw it back to me. I was like, well, I'm depending on you on that, like, because I don't know, like, right. so come up with some ideas and just run with it, and let's just try it. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to make everybody feel that, like, this is not only my project. It's a
collaborative effort.
It's a collaborative, and you still have a say. Sure. So take that.
Which you totally do. Yeah, which you totally do.
And
you
guys for me, what was powerful for me was having, like, I don't know, like, what do you guys think? And looking to you guys to be like, what do you guys think? And to me, that was so helpful for me, and helpful, I think, for the project, because that opened for doors of like, here's some ideas. And then we all, I think at the same time, we all collaboratively. There you go. That's the word. Would genuinely, and also genuinely, like, we'll go with that one. That one seems thing.
Yeah.
And not being afraid. And not being afraid to be like, you know what? I like the idea, Jerry. Oh, I like that idea, Cloud.
And
I like that. And Lenny too. Like
Lenny was great.
Lenny came in the clutch.
Yo, shout out to Lenny, man.
No, he was like, how do you want this shot? I'm like, I don't know. How do you want it shot? Like, this is what I envisioned, but like
the shooting, the way he shot it, so many scenes. You know what I mean? And just boosted so many scenes the way that he shot it. So shout out to Lenny, man.
Definitely.
You did your thing, brother.
And for me, like directing, I coming from a place where I've had experience being on set, and now we're in this free flow wearing. I've worn hats, a lot of hats in other sets, but not as many as I did in this set.
In-house production, baby.
In-house production. So for me, there was moments where it was great to be in a place where let it go with the flow, because I came from a place. I'm OCD, so I came from a place like. I was trying to do storyboarding and all this, and my brain was like in a 3-camera setup type thing, just like our scene when we did in the kitchen that I really wanted our close-ups, because as me performing with him, I didn't even feel like I was performing. I felt like that we were in a moment. When I saw his face, I was like, oh my God, I want the audience to see what I'm seeing. And like I was fighting with that. But then when we spoke to you, it's true. Like, and looking back at the scene, I'm like, it was great as it is. People get it. They don't have to see that when teared up.
If you could get it, if you could get it, that's fine. Right.
Exactly.
It's about the moment. It's about the moment.
Right. And with that moment, I was just like, sometimes people give too much.
Yeah.
And you don't need to give too much. And that's when I learned, like,
that's what bothers me about film.
Yeah. And that's
like, you stupid. Like, the audience is dumb. Like,
exactly.
We'll watch a movie and like the guy's nervous, right? And the guy's like lying. And in real life, no one would do that, because I know you'd be lying. And then he'd be like, what, me? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They have to do that in the movie. You know what I'm saying? In real life, you wouldn't do that shit.
But with that said, for me, it helped me with that. Like, that part of me was like, it's okay. You don't need to give too much, because if the audience gets it, they're going to get it. That whole energy there, they feel it. So that was great. That was like a gift that I got.
And also it was just I think it was a reminder for you, like, baby girl, we don't have 3 cameras right now.
That too.
There's a budget. There's a
budget.
I know we didn't have
that. And we knew you where you was coming from.
Done it.
But no, I'm saying we knew where you was coming from.
Yeah, we did.
But we also was trying to remind you that people are going to get it, but you're trying to, it's like, I was trying to also keep on saying,
what was that?
You're trying to.
You saw that, right?
That was a spirit or a fly. But I think it was a spirit.
It was a good spirit. So yeah.
I was
like, a good one. It's on camera. You got it on film.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yo lo sentí.
I was like, it's a dad spirit. He was like, yeah, I like the show.
Yeah.
I was trying to also remind you too. It was like, you're trying to catch lightning again.
Right. But it was such a good take.
Yeah. It was like, you're trying.
Again,
We're going to recreate it, but it's not going to be the same. And it's going to be different.
Because that was totally improv.
Yeah. You're going to try to catch lightning in the bottle again, and it's not going to happen.
You know, there's something that I've learned And of course you got to learn it the hard way. And again, I guess the key word of this conversation is trust, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in this case is trusting yourself.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, and I was having a conversation as far as like, the whole creating things for Latinos and labels and all this
Yeah.
other shit. And like,
Mhm,
and at a certain point it becomes pandering, like
mhm.
you just create art to create art. Don't create art for Latinos or
Exactly.
So if you're creating art to just create art, you have to trust your taste. You have to trust that what you're doing. And when you do, that's the thing. When people fully commit and they trust themselves, if other people relate to it, because situations that we think are only to us, that's not true. There's like
It's
a million
relatable.
people a million people are going through it. I always have a thing where like, they'll come up with a show, like an ethnic show, like Asian family or like an Indian family, and you start watching, they're like, you know what, I related. It's like similar, because everybody's family. It's all the same. They just speak different languages. Like everything's relatable. Let's stop talking that shit,
Yep.
And I think
feel the same way.
we in those moments when you don't know and aren't sure, you trust yourself, you trust your taste. Like I don't think I'm funny. Okay. The shit that I do and the decisions I make, other people find them funny. So I trust those decisions now to be funny because I'm trusting myself. And now I've found out, like, the moment that I'm trying to be funny for somebody else, or it's not genuine one, and I'm not trusting myself. I'm not trusting my taste. Like, you got to trust your taste. You're an artist. You trust your taste. So listen, you want to shoot a shot a certain way. Listen, if we put it like this, blah, 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 it might feel like shit. It might look like shit. It might whatever, but that's your perspective, your take, your taste. People aren't going to like it. It's nothing ever hits 100%. Nobody's ever 100 for 100.
People always gonna have a comment.
But you know what? 70 out of 30, you're gonna be. That's a pretty successful thing. And then again, that's what you want. And I think that's what happened in this. It was like a moment of like, well, from what we know and what we've done before, and the situation. This works, and I've also, like, luckily I've also had experience with fast shooting, doing the comedy stuff, where it's like, okay, we gotta we need this take like this, and that's all we need, like, we don't fuck around too much. We just need this shit. And if I see a certain way, I gotta be like, oh, hey, look, we got it, and that I was able to provide that to you guys sometimes, which is great. To be like, no, we good, we got it, we got it,
and you don't need to overdo it. That was great about it too.
Like,
we shot it, we love the take, and that's it.
No one went to go. And I think another thing for me was like living with these happy accidents, or going with the flow, and trusting being on your toes. Because there was like, for instance, the first time we was ready to shoot, you had this thing with Amaya, and then you had to come with her. And then I'm like, this works. Like,
this is why I came late.
And then I'm like, and then we eventually then it was raining, and then we
then it worked out. But then it worked out.
Yes. Me and Cloud went into the room.
We're like,
and Cloud, that's when I looked at her, and I was like, then you let me know what we're gonna shoot, because she was asking me, and I was like, no, you let me know. She was like, I got you.
I got it.
And then we went there, and then we, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna do. And then we used a Maya. So it was like that day where we thought, it was like, oh my God, everything is being ruined. That day was the day that
I knew. Yeah.
I was like, no, but
I knew that day when she came out the room, to be honest with you, when you came out the room and you came with the game plan, when you switched, those are the moments when you know. And we came out of there with a game plan, and we filmed way more than we had planned to film anyway, right? We had way more we were going to film way less than
which helped the whole schedule in entirety, because we ended up shooting less days than we had planned.
Yes.
It's
came together.
Speaking on that, it's making me think like I'm working on the second season now. We did some readings of it, right? And then I took a break, and I just got to it now. It's making me think now that, like, what if I, just as an idea, what if I combine episodes into one, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have episode 1 and episode 2, but now I'm thinking as an effective shooting for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, what if we just combine 1 and 2 together and as an episode, and then, like, instead of having 8 10-minute episodes, we'll just have 4 and they're like 20 minutes or what, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
you can, but this is the thing that
Even
you make
shorter.
up your own, your own rules. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
This is our
So
production.
you put out those 2 episodes. They could still be episode 1 and 2. You're just putting them out together as a package.
Exactly.
You understand what
Right.
I'm saying? Because of the
Right.
story, you feel like that story needs to be told together,
Right.
and that's
Yep.
fine. Who gives a shit? It's
Yeah.
like chapters. You know, some people call it chapters, other people
Yeah.
call it volumes, other
Volume.
people call
Yep.
it episodes. Whatever.
Yep.
You know, this is something unprecedented that hasn't been done before. As far as like the way we're using the medium, you know, the way how we're doing this, you know. There's people that are blown away that we're including music and poetry and doing all this other shit and it's seamless through the stuff. It doesn't feel like it's being jammed in and forced.
Exactly.
And again, this is all stuff that's just happening organically, and that's what you want. And again, I don't think there's if anything, it showed us that the limits are set by ourselves. Like we set our own limits, you know what I mean? An episode could be fucking 40 minutes. Who gives a shit? You make your own rules. An episode could be a minute, an episode could be 30 seconds. Who gives a shit? You're getting your point in your story. It's about what impact you wanted to get across. So at the end of the day, like I'm loving now, like, you know, that whole structure of like, well, you know, the episodes have to be 20 minutes,
right.
you know, because we wanted a half-hour episode, or you're gonna make it 44. Like you tell me how many pages, and then it's like, oh, and then I'm gonna need 13 episodes because you need an arch. And now we're writing episodes, filling in, making up stories that probably didn't have nothing to do with the original story or help move the story along anyway, or slowing down certain beats of the story because we need to fill out 12 episodes.
Yeah, and then you have unnecessary episodes. So you're like,
exactly.
Why was this even here?
And then you have some weird, right? That's when you get into the weird shit. Oh, because the network wanted this. There's no control of that no more. So, and in saying in that, do whatever the hell you want, make it however, and then it finds its own shape anyway. It finds its own form anyway. Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna Cloud, I was gonna say, how did you find your voice in this, and also your control in this? Because we as we work together, we bump heads in this area of where sometimes you put limits on yourself where you feel that like that since I like initiated this idea that is not fully yours, and I'm just like, no, it is yours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because you know, it didn't come out of your mouth or whatever, or I'll just say like, no, you donated $5, so you are a producer. I'm like, you'll set limits on yourself of just because of the professional industry that you're in, that you're like, no, it goes this way because this is how it is. So technically I don't.
There's guardrails.
So how did you were able to break those walls within yourself to be like, define your voice in this as a director, producer, and to be
badass.
Like, you know what? Yeah, badass. I'm not gonna put these walls on me. You know what I'm saying? And he's right. I'm going to this. I am a creator in this, and I do have a part in this, and I do have a voice, and then not take things personal if we don't agree on an idea. You know, how did you find your way in this? Because everybody, I think, had their own journey to find their place and to feel comfortable. And definitely. You know, even when Lenny had his own journey, you know, to build his confidence and each and every. So how was that for you?
For me, how I got to there was to trust myself and believe in myself. And the reason why I feel that I was there was, yes, because you wrote it, and because of the type of person you are. When you take on a project, you tend to take control of everything at time in the beginning.
He's an auteur. He's an auteur.
Yeah, he's an auteur. But like for me, if it was me that wrote it, I would have done the same thing.
Sure.
So
it's your baby.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that said, that is your that it was your baby, and now it's our baby. But it was your baby to begin with. So with that mindset that I had, I just wanted to I put myself to the side when I shouldn't have, because I didn't allow the trust that you gave me, I didn't give it to myself.
Right.
So I just kept saying, well, this is his baby. I really want to fulfill his vision, but I want to make sure. So then when I kept doing that, I was like, hold up. I have the title.
Yes.
What the fuck am I doing?
Yes.
And I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And even and some things I might not know what I'm doing, but I'm creating.
Yeah.
And I'm working with people who are also in the same boat because they're also learning in one shape or form. You know, you're
And we don't
learning
wanna put out
Everybody
shit.
was doing new. Everybody was doing something
Everybody
new. Yeah.
everybody was doing something new. And then that's when I realized, especially working with you guys, where the trust came. Not only the
Right.
trust within myself, but the trust with each other. And I saw
Right.
how we were working and how there was no pride and ego,
No.
laughter. People were willing to be vulnerable. People were willing to talk. We worked as a team. And that made me feel better. That made me feel more comfortable with myself and more comfortable with being, you know, a part of the project as a team. Even though I was more team and first team and then
And then you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I started.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, no, this is a team,
Yeah.
but I am also taking charge of certain things. And like we co-directed, but there were times that he went ahead to you. Like I wanted to go to you to tell you something, but
Yeah.
then I saw Win with you, and I'm like, I know Win is. I trusted him, Win enough to know Win is already telling him what he needs to know. I don't need to
Right.
tell him more. Like he
Right.
doesn't need to hear two people talking to him.
Right. Right.
And then there
Right.
were times that I would speak to you.
Yeah.
And he would.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that how
You
instinctively
guys collaborated. Yeah. You guys
Yeah, like,
instinctively collaborated. Like, yeah.
telepathically.
Yeah.
I didn't have to tell that to him.
And you guys were
But it
like you guys
happened.
were filling the gaps. You know, like you said, because there were times like, you
And
know,
I
Rick would tell me
appreciated that.
something. Yeah, no, there were times Rick would tell me something, but then you would come over and be like, oh, but don't and I'd be like, oh
Yeah.
shit, yes. So you know, it's interesting. Again, it was a team, it was a
Mhm.
team effort,
Yeah,
but
and kudos
I think
to.
I
go
think
ahead.
you need to no, I'm sorry, but I think you need to like that was your lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you again, this is all stuff that we're all learning. So second
Yeah.
seasons are going to be even better.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but these are the trials and tribulations. But you know, we had a thing in my group when we were working together. It's like, yo, we all have a lane, you know.
Mhm.
And if there is a disagreement that we all can't agree on, whoever is the leader of that lane
It's gonna be
is going to make the decision.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, somebody's in charge of marketing, the other person's in charge of writing, I'm in charge of directing, blah, blah, blah. So if the thing landed in your field, we had to trust in that person. Unless it was something that you completely felt like, yo, dude, I really think, you know, but even then, it's still at the end of the moment, we have to trust that person in that lane because that's what that job that was assigned to them.
I mean,
And you did great, though. You were amazing.
Thank you. And another thing too that I forgot to add is we're married, we're a couple.
Yeah.
So to be able to put that to the side and be like, okay, this is not Win and Cloud, the couple, the married couple, the parents. This is Win and Cloud, the business partners right now.
Yeah.
You know,
But that totally helped
collaborators.
y'all. That totally helped y'all.
But I feel like the trust that we have within each other personally helps, and the communication, because afterwards we'll check in, this, that. So yeah.
I was gonna also say too that like with the whole trust thing and working together, there was a moment, I think probably like episode, I think
You busted your toe?
no, I didn't bust my toe. I think it was probably like the 6th day of set, but I think there was a moment for a beautiful moment that I saw with Lenny where you could tell that like he was like his confidence built up was when I saw it. I know the confidence built up in a different lane was when we was doing a take. And you know how usually we looked at each other and say, how did it go? And the usual people say something and Lenny would just stay quiet and be like, I'm gonna just shoot it this way. There was a take where he stopped and he says, nah, that wasn't it. You guys got to. And it was a moment inside of me. I said, look at this motherfucker telling me, directing us to be like, that wasn't it. But I looked at it, I was like, you're right, because it wasn't it.
Right, because it wasn't it.
But I was so happy that he said that. I was so happy that he's seeing it. That like it was also another confirmation of what I saw him prematurely. That I'm like,
right.
It was like Karate Kid, where you're like,
you know
what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, like or like in the movie Hook, he's doing it, Peter. He's doing it. I was like, yo, he's believing. He's believing.
Yeah, that's dope.
That was dope.
Because he's so good. He's really good.
Yeah, and you saw his growth. Like,
oh my God, and his shots and everything.
Episode 8, he was just like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was like we were thinking in our head that wasn't it, and he was like, nah, that was.
I was so nervous, and I shared this with. I think I shared this with Jerry and also with Cloud. I knew Skittles was funny, and I knew that Skittles was going to do good, and I knew that she was a great piece for this, but I was so nervous when it was time to shoot with her because us and the core group already had 7
Right.
episodes
Right.
and we already had, not even 7, we had so many days in
Yeah.
with us. I'm like, damn.
We were a well-oiled machine.
Even if you
Yeah.
had
Yes.
rehearsal, even
And I
if-
was
even
like,
if that
how
had
is
rehearsal too.
now we're gonna have to find this chemistry with her,
Yeah.
even though we had it, but like now we're gonna have to build this. I'm like,
The on camera.
how is this gonna work? Is it gonna take a step
my
back? Because this is like literally the second to last episode. You want to keep raising, and then we did do a lot of takes, right?
Yeah.
But those lot of takes led to where it needed to be, where
Man.
where it's like where we
It
took
developed the
us on-
shit out
yeah.
the character. Yeah, it developed
yes.
the hell out of the character
Yes.
and also even the relationship that our characters had with his
Yep,
Yes.
character, you know.
And it was like, all right, cool,
it was
just
good.
relax and chill. Like now, once that happened, I guess it was like, I don't know, like the 20th take. I was like, all right, good. We're warmed up now. We broke the character. We broke another level that we needed to be, and now we're smooth sailing from there.
Mhm.
It's so wild because when you do start working with people, there are those things that you start like, especially how you and I were working. Like I don't know, maybe it's just because I had the confidence. Like even the idea of us working together and like me fight, like, oh, I wonder if he's where he's at. Sometimes when you work with people, you're like, all right, let me, because I gotta, before we go into the scene, and I never had to do that with you.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, what are we gonna shoot? Okay, let's shoot it. And it was never of like, where are you? You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, it was like, okay, you ready? Okay, bachata, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
boom,
Nice,
boom, boom,
nice,
boom.
nice.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
there.
yeah,
And then,
yeah.
wait, stop. Oh, we got the battery, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You ready? Okay,
Yeah.
boom. And I mean, and
Nice.
kudos to us because I mean that translated it into having really great scenes and us.
Yeah.
And people really thought we were like really close before we even started shooting this.
Yeah.
Like, yo, your chemistry is so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thanks. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because we're great actors,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
But
No, I think that
But
was
it's
something
true.
too that
It was true.
people connected to the words, but what helped the words come to life was our relationship.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
and that's why
people
that's the most
gravitated
important
to
thing
these
in comics.
characters.
Yeah.
That it was like they connected to the genuine and the love between Jerry and Rick individually and together, and that's what carried the show.
And also like they
And
like
with
again
any show that you want to
any
watch,
show,
it's like
but also like seeing us in another light, meaning like I probably have a big audience of people that know me a certain way, but they're seeing me in a new light. Same thing with you. There's you had all these people that saw you like in your one-man show doing all this comedy and all stuff. I mean, they saw the vulnerability in you, but they didn't know you had that slapstick stuff in you, like that, like some of the stuff in those episodes that you had to do physical comedy, and like even those like takes and just putting this together, writing it, and just all of that. This is all showing different sides
I'll
to
be
people.
right back.
Go ahead. And it's all just showing different perspective and showing different sides of like, oh my God, these guys can actually they're actually doing this. Like,
you know what? I think one of the
effect is great.
One of the shout out to Zuleika. I wanted to shout out two people. Zuleika was just the love that she would give us and the genuine compliments. And she would say, like, I think it's probably about the third or fourth episode. She told this compliment. She was like, "You guys should do more. You guys should do movies together as a duo. Like, you guys are great, and you should."
We did win
that.
an award as best
We
duo.
We
brother.
did.
That's
We
pretty
did.
dope.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
That
never
was
won with
great.
anybody else.
Yeah. And then another thing was I remember I knew Tony was gonna do great, right? I was just like, I had this like first timer director thing where I was like, man, I hope he's gonna listen to my words. This guy been in the industry.
Yeah,
this guy been in the
pros.
industry for so long.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I know he doesn't. I worked with him before in the sense of like he helped me with certain things. I'm like, I know he doesn't have ego, but I'm like, is this guy gonna give me? Is he gonna listen to my notes that I give him? Like, is he gonna be like, who the fuck are you? And he didn't do that. And this guy took my notes and went above and beyond. And he saw me at that level. He saw me and gave me that.
A delight to work with, man.
And then to see you guys together was like,
Oh my goodness.
beautiful. Where I was jealous, like, damn, I want scenes
I
with
wanted
Tony.
to act aggressive too. I wanted to act with Tony too.
And I was like, damn.
I was like, I'm so mad that I broke up with my ex because he's, the neighbor. He's my
Well,
my
you
ex
still
mother-in-laws. Like they live next door to each other.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, we never hung out when I was there all the
Yeah.
time because we would have been. But no, he was a blast.
Yes.
What a fucking pro.
Yes.
He went from making us crack up 1 second to like
fucking cry.
emotional crying, and he made it. He made like that comfort level. I was able to go there with him because of who he was, and there were certain scenes I'm like, yo, you gotta stop talking because you're making me laugh too much.
Yeah.
How was that for you, Jerry? That scene, I always wanted to ask you that again.
Yeah,
when you were doing that scene with Tony, how was that for you personally? And also, did your dad watch it?
I don't know if my father's seen it.
Okay.
I know, and not in anything because my father never watches any of my stuff. It's whatever.
Like
right. It's not like he's avoiding this one. He knows what's up. He knows.
They'll watch something, but they don't know what's going on.
But like my uncles. They asked me, has your dad seen it?
His brothers?
My mom's brothers.
Okay.
No, I don't talk to his family, but my mom's brothers, they're all like, has he seen it? What you did,
I didn't even ask that question.
And
that's great.
And I was like,
family receptive.
No. So a lot of my family, a lot of and that's the thing. This is a new light. They know Jerry, the comedian. They know Jerry, the funny guy. And to see me like this, they were like, you could really act. Which I don't know. I should be offended. But I wasn't. But I get it.
What I was trying to tell you guys for 44 years.
You guys called me a good liar, but what do you think a good lie is?
Ahora tú puedes actuar. Ahora tú puedes hacer lo que tú haces.
But I really did. Again, luckily, emotionally, I was somewhere else where I literally took my father and I put him in Tony's place. And then it was like, again, I've gotten to say a lot of these things to him, and I've gotten a lot of, like, again, I did the work, but I went back to when I was 17, 18, that frustration that I can't even think about it. It's going to make me cry. I can't talk. It makes me stutter. That thing. And I went back to that emotion. I went back to that feeling, and, the dialogue helped. And in working with Tony and some of the stuff, some of the energy he was giving me before certain lines was helping me go there. The weird aspect of all of this too is like I'm more of like, when we're talking about wearing a lot of hats, I like wearing a lot of hats because I don't like thinking about acting. I don't like to overthink about acting. I like to I know my lines. I know my lines. Okay, I'm gonna practice my lines a couple of times. But if I'm in the moment and I'm talking to somebody and we're having a conversation, and I know where the conversation is going to go, I only have to memorize my lines so much if I'm in the moment, and I don't think about it. So when we were doing all these comedy shows or all this other stuff and I'm directing at the same time, I didn't have time to think about like, I'm going to mess up this. It was like gung ho, boom, don't think about it. Be in the moment, be present. And I very much just used that to be in those scenes with him. Be present as when I was 18, 17 years old in the middle of that frustration. Like, what is it that I wanted to tell him so badly, And in a way, my characters, I still feel my character didn't get to have that moment of telling him exactly everything, but because of the moment. But I also felt like he saw that within the moment, because of what it was, that's what he was going to be able to get. Like this is it, and the whole like, oh, this is what I thought it was going to be. That whole cut thing, like showing like, oh, this is what I thought it was going to be, but this is how it actually went. It's one of those things that though you play those scenarios out in your head when you're like, oh, if I have this conversation, how's it going to go? And if it goes like this and it goes like this, so being able to have that to play off of, like having shot like the scene of like, I'm so happy, and being able to bring myself up. It was perfect because then I was like, I'm going to just fucking shoot myself down from there. And live in that disappointment and live in those moments where I just be like, I'm so frustrated and dead, and I just want you to love me and accept me for who I am. And as actors, we still go through that. We're creatures of acceptance and looking for that approval in particular ways. So, man, Tony's such a fucking, He's
Yo,
such
and
a beautiful
also
spirit,
I was gonna
yo.
ask
you
you.
also were
Sorry, really
standing
quick
toe to
with
toe. No, I'm
that.
just saying.
I
You were
wanted
standing
to.
toe to toe with a seasoned actor in
Yeah.
dramatic world. So
Yeah.
to me, I was just so proud to see that too. That
Thank
like
you.
I knew you
Yeah.
was you was in a place, and I wanted to keep reminding you where you was at. But on the outside of it is like you was building. It's like through the season, you was building up to this moment, and here,
I
Mm.
can't, you know, I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't think of that. You can't,
right,
you know, I know you can't think of that because that'll fuck with you.
right,
You know,
Yeah.
you have to. Again, I told this to somebody. You know, I don't always get the opportunities, but when I get the opportunity, I'm gonna knock it out the fucking park, and you cannot deny me. You're not gonna be
Mhm.
able to deny me. I may have had to break in through the window. I may have had to put my foot in the door so you can let me in. But once I'm in, I'm gonna be part of this shit, and I'm gonna be undeniable. Like, you know, and
yeah,
I mean, shit, if I had thought about that for a second, I would have been intimidated as shit because
yeah.
Tony's a fucking beast,
Mhm.
you
Hell
know,
yeah.
but he also, I don't know, it was like, you know, like that superpower, like you could take powers away from somebody, like
Yeah,
their superpower where you're next to them. Like I felt I
Mhm.
had that, like
Mm.
we
yeah,
were joking 1 minute and then we could switch that scene and he was making
Mm.
that for, like, I don't know, I was able to like
Yeah.
attract
Yep.
that
think
Yep.
from
Yep. I
him.
get it.
for
Uh,
me, I'm sorry. You just hold that thought though.
I
Because it
wanted
goes
to
on.
ask about that.
Eh,
No,
wait,
because it was I wanted.
the
Go ahead.
best. I was gonna say the best. I feel like the best actors and the best improvers, they give gifts, and and you learn that it's like
Yeah.
when you with scenes with partners, they give gifts to each other. One of
You
the
were there.
things, one of the
Yep.
things that Tony also did, he's a beautiful scene partner, is that he put so much trust in you and trust in himself that he gives you things to feed off.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
those are gifts that you're
Mhm.
giving
Yeah.
each other in those scenes, just living in the truth. And
Yeah.
that's and the same thing, just like while
I
we
try to
doing these
give him
things.
some. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 So go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you, how was it for you? Because you said you had to go back to you were 17 reliving this. How was it for you to
Yes.
relive it again? What was that like?
Oh, it was intense. It was, again, like it allowed me, like I told you before, like it showed me how far I've come
That's what I was
from
gonna say.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it showed me how far I've come. It showed me, like, you know, the emotional work that I had been doing, you know, the letting go of the certain baggage that I had before that didn't allow me to flourish
Yeah.
in my life generally, you know.
Yeah.
So to be able to, like, oh, that was a great, no, that was really a great reminder, you know, because we were talking, like,
Look
you know,
back.
yeah, Rick came up to me, he told me, he's like, you know, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I worked a lot of that shit out. I'm good where I'm at, but I can go there.
Mhm.
You know, I told him, I said I could go there. I remember that, like, I could only because that's the stuff that I still tap into when I'm making decisions as a father for my kid. You know, I gotta, like, remember also, like, oh my God, how is this gonna affect my kid? You know, a lot of times the parents didn't think that, you know, or whatever, or even just how you react to certain things, how that might affect the kid.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yep.
you know, too angry, too upset, like, you got to keep a certain, like, even keel so you can be a vessel for your child to come to and be like they can tell you anything, you know, because if you're a person that's going to react angry all the time, I don't know if you're going to
You're not
keep,
gonna want to.
you know, or if you're a person
No.
that's too soft and doesn't provide answers, he's just there, you know. You
Yeah.
got to have that fine balance of, like, no, I'm here, but we're going to deal with it, you know. And knowing that I provide that for my kid and having to go, oh man, it was,
That's
but you know,
nice.
that it was a lot of work. I also realized, like, damn, I did a lot of work. It was a moment of self-pride, you know, in my head of, like, wow, like, I remember when I, like, things like this paralyzed me in my life.
Yeah.
When things like this blocked my blessings, my own mentality. Because at the end of the day, it's not, yeah, your dad is the one that causes the trauma and all that stuff, but you're the one that has to make the changes. You're the one that has to, like, you either accept it, you want to live out, you know, step out of that, you want to work on it, whatever. It all comes down on, like, you can't, as much as there is a responsibility or trauma of another person, it's up to you what you do with that, right? It up to, like, you fall, what's up? What are you gonna do? You gonna lay on the ground or you gonna get back up? It's up to you, you know. And it's, for some people it's easier than others. I'm speaking very
How
generally
did you
here.
put in that work? What did you do?
I literally had to I hit the bottom of the barrel as far as, like, you know, I was with somebody, they left me broke, they left me, so I had to come back home to my folks. I left when I was like 20, 21. So I'm 30 30, almost 30. You know, I had just been engaged, all these other things, and I had gone through life, and now I'm coming back home. But I also came with a different perspective because then I was just like, damn, man, like I can't imagine having a grown ass man in my house now, you know. And that's the thing, like I didn't have a job, like I literally came back like hands
like you were when you left,
like a kid, you know. I had to start over completely. But then also you start to take into account like shit. I never was hungry, you know. You start taking into account the things that they were there for you for, and then you're like, you know what? This is I got to look at it differently. I got to come at it from a different perspective. And I started thinking of like, you know, and then you become a parent and then you change it and you're like, oh my God, the sacrifices
you have to make.
You know, and all that. It was intense.
Your family, when they saw it, how did they know the story that what you felt? How did they react to it besides not like, oh, you can act, but like they're hearing? Was it their first time hearing this side of you, or what was their reaction?
Well, no, as a kid, I think as a kid, I pretty much wore, I mean, I'm an artist, so I was a sensitive kid.
Yeah.
And you know, the tough Dominican upbringing wasn't always for me, you know, and then that's the thing, like, oh, you're a punk, you're a pussy, you got to be into cars, women, and rum. And I was I don't know none of that shit. I like music. I like, you know, I want to do this. And that's the other thing. Like, I always knew I wanted to pursue the arts, you know, even though it took me forever to finally fully commit. You know, I knew that's not something that my father was like, all my stuff was bullshit. But then my family saw that. My family saw like the antagonism and all that, and me going through all of that. But so a lot of times they were like, even seeing this, they were like, oh, so this, and I'm like, I'm not there anymore. Yeah, there's truth to it, but there's also like, you know, there's I have to share that story so other people can see this, that it can happen to them too.
Yeah, so I guess what I want to say, because I know when you first started seeing the rough cuts of like the episodes, like 1, 2, 3, I think up to 5, and you said a comment is like, I'm uncomfortable to see myself. It's new. It was like it's new. It's he said, and you kept to saying, I'm not saying it's bad. It's great, but it's just I don't have anything to say because it's new. Was right? And was that the same reaction how they were seeing it? Your family, like, how they were seeing you in this new light, where they was like, oh, this is new.
Yeah, no, well, a lot of like
certain things you share.
Well, no, a lot of people were like, some of the people were like they were very supportive.
Okay.
As far as like, or like saying like, damn, man, like they didn't even make a thing of the acting thing. You know, it was just another project that I was in that I was good in, you know, which was really dope. But then there was other people that came up to me and they were like, so what did you do to get into that? You know, and like, you know, because it's just, again, when you're doing comedy, there's such a visceral reaction, and it's like you know, but then boom, with this is just like, all right, here, take this and do with it what you will. And people, and no, but I mean, my family, it was weird for them to see me like, oh, you're not making jokes all the time. Like, you know,
I was gonna touch on that because I what was great for me was because people knew from my shows, I'm funny, I'm gonna get deep, I'm gonna do all that, right? So the poster comes out, and I just shared a poster of us, right? And we're gonna do a dad show. I remember to this day that, you know, it's gonna come out, and I'm getting like all these shares, you know, and comments is like, oh, my 2 favorite people that are funny, blah blah blah. So people already creating this narrative that one, that it's gonna be straight comedy, dick jokes, dumb punching kids, being
especially with me, bro. Especially with me, like that. Especially with me, like,
and a lot of it was coming from yours, and a lot of it was coming from mine. But more, I think, on your side is like, oh shit, 2 comedic people together.
I can't wait for this shit. This is gonna be funny.
Nonstop laughter and blah blah blah, and I remember, like, you know, just loving the love, but thinking like, yo, these people are not gonna know what's in store, because we're gonna come with the laughter, but we're gonna come with some other stuff. And I think, to me, what was so beautiful is that
I was scared of that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't know I didn't know if people were gonna accept it. No, because it's like when people try to do different things, they're like, nah, bro, stick to comedy. I like to
right.
But
And
anyway,
I think, I think for me, it was so great was seeing the reaction of like, oh, this shit is funny, but this shit is also making me think. This shit is also making me touch feelings.
Oh, shit.
And it was it made them change their narrative. Just like, man, I thought them two was gonna just bring it straight comedy, but like they took me on just different fucking path from comedy to music to poetry to real shit to
Crying my ass off.
and crying my
I
ass off.
gotta credit Rick H, right? Because when we did his podcast, he's kind of the one that he's the one that kind of turned the tide of me, because he was just like, I was expecting all these other things, but you know, and then, but then he was he's gonna hate me because I've been doing them all. But no, he was like, you know, there's music, like he was hitting all the stuff that we were kind of like bringing up, and I was just like, oh shit, like, and he's known me for just the comedy stuff, and for him, he's like, no, and he tells everybody, oh no, you're one of the funniest dudes, whatever, and I always appreciate it. But for him to be talking about like, he didn't talk about the funny shit when we were there. He was talking about all the father stuff. He was hitting all the points that we were like thinking about, and like the stuff that we wanted to start the conversation on, which was so dope.
Yeah.
And also I want to shout out to I don't really know this dude, but I asked him to be on his podcast, and I've been showing him love, and I want him to bring on our podcast too. He goes by, I know his name, but the Instagram is Mozo or something like that. Mozo.
Oh yeah,
Jose.
Yeah,
he goes by Mozo. Yeah.
Mozo.
He's gonna be a guest.
So, man, the love that I was getting for him, and just like the content that he's putting out, and also tagging us because it relates to dads.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's so dope.
Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Mozo. I met him, but first of all, he's like your height. He's huge.
Really?
I met him. He's really tall.
Oh, he is tall.
another tall, lanky dude. Yeah. So shout out to Mozo. But like, you know, he's doing really like positive,
really,
because he even does the IG lives and stuff, and he does a lot of motivational videos, and to see like again the shit that sparked with what we're doing, and in the circles that we're roaming now, you know, these are all positive, influential, inspirational people that are that we're attracting and we're working with and attracting to promote this and even talking about it,
right?
You know, but that, again, kudos to you, man. That's the genuineness of this of the script of the whole project.
Shout out to another person, Danny Haskins, right?
Hastings. Danny Hastings.
Sorry about Danny Hastings.
No,
Hastings.
Hastings.
I'm bad with names. Danny Hastings.
Yes.
Right. So a cool story with that, right? You know, I'm applying to all these festivals, stuff like that. And I got the notice that we wasn't in the Latino festival that he has.
The short film festival, right?
The short film festival. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, any festival that we don't get in is not an ego thing. I'm just like, how can you shut down a show about fathers and heart?
Right.
So
and this is the official Latino, and
I
think it's for the official Latino.
Official
film
Latino.
festival.
And I'm like, this has the recipe to be in. It's official Latinos, it's heart. So anything that we don't get in, I'm just like, damn, how can you hate a father show? But whatever. So we didn't get in. I was like, okay, you know, moving along.
I was gonna make that call though. I told you though. I was gonna make that call though. But go ahead.
So I was like, you know, we didn't get in, and then I get this awesome email from him, and he says, Rick, I don't know how this didn't get in, or what happened that didn't get it in, but I want to let you know that episode 2 touched me. We need more shows like this about fathers. I'm a father myself. This is much, you know, just praise and praise and praise, and then getting the notification that we got in with the second episode. I was like, I don't know what happened, but it was dope to
First
know
of all,
that like
he knows I would have kicked his ass. No. First of all, you have to know the magnitude.
Jerry called him. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, you have to know the magnitude of what Danny Hastings is. Okay, we're talking about legendary photographer. There's a hip hop album cover that you liked back in the day, or a magazine.
He did it.
My man was in it. I had the great fortune of working very closely with him. I do consider him a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
And he's been one of the biggest supporters of mine from like day one, like coming to the comedy shows when we were doing our Room 28 shows in little cafes 12 years ago. I'm talking like a long time ago, and him always being there. And I know he's a big supporter and a voice for our culture, our people, especially like United States Americanized hip hop
Yeah.
Latinos, like he's there, you know, and then to see him, all these things he's been able to create and accomplish, and including that film festival. And then I told you, I was like, yo, send it to him. Because if you don't, I mean, I didn't have to put in the call. I didn't have to call because but you know, I got nothing but love for that guy, and for us to be recognized by like a festival like that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Nice, you know, and more to come, man. More to come.
No, it's true. It's like one by one, when we just started getting these acceptance things, I'm like, oh wow.
Grateful to all, shout out to all the festivals. Like they didn't know us from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
There's some that didn't know us from a hole in the wall, and they were just connected with
a lot of this stuff. I don't know.
So
a lot
beautiful.
of these film festivals.
New York City Web's Fest.
And I told you, go do it. I told you do it because one,
exposure, and
one, two, but I've seen worse. Like I've seen people just create things so they can be in these festivals, you know, because they have the pull and the shit is crap, but they're there and it gives them their thing. And I'm like, no, we actually have something solid ass ground to stand on. We have something substantially good. There's no way you can deny this.
It's so true, because we had, like, for me, I'm like the champion of the people of the champion of the people, right? And I'm like, knowing that I got the reaction from the people, and I'm like, oh, this is a winner, and like, this was great. Already. And it's not about that, but the getting that love, it just makes it even much more appreciative. And now getting because you know, I said, let's give it a shot for the film festivals, and now getting the love from that, it was just like, oh wow, okay. So we really got something.
It's humbling. It's humbling.
It's very humbling.
And it came at a time. And first of all, you know, we did all these projects, and then I'm going through my own personal stuff where you feel low, you feel like, you know, you're confident. And in that same exact time, all these nominations and all these acclamations are coming in. And it just, I was like, you know what, man, take your blessings. You know what I'm saying? And from our conversations that we've had, you know, I don't do this for the money. I don't do it for, I do it for the, like, I genuinely do it for the art, right? Like, there's no greater, like when you're in the thick of, like, if you're an actor and you're in the thick of a scene and you're filming and you're doing takes and somebody says cut, you're in the middle of it. That's the thick. That doesn't get any better than that. When you're directing a scene and you're a director, when you're editing and you're putting the thing, like, it doesn't get better when you're doing the work. And that's what we do, the work. And to be able to get acclimated and praised for it on some like organic, genuine shit, like it was and again, signs and kismet and all that shit, you know, I was feeling real, and all of a sudden, like that, this love picked me up, man. And the show, I can't even tell you how, like, even post, like, filming it was great, you know, experience was great, and then like even the post stuff and the love and all that shit, it's been amazing.
And people like just reach out to you. Oh, I connected to it. I wrote a letter to my dad. The stories of people like, oh man, I went back to my father, or this. Look, I get goosebumps.
Yeah, I saved all. I screenshots all.
Oh my god!
And like I wanted to jump on your shout out to Zuli, right? Because Zuleika, I've known her for such a long time, you know, and she's always been a fan and supporter. And she's one of the people that was like, I think, and you know, and it's funny because around the same time she put me to do some drama shit. Yeah, because she was another person, and then for her to see me in this. That's why she was rooting for me. So I love her, and thank you again. Yeah, she gave us mad love.
Yeah, she
these are the people, like, that's just one of the people that helped us continue and to flourish and doing, and like to have the confidence to continue to do this and be like, oh my god, wait till you see the next episode. You're gonna love this.
And shout out to her too, because she showed so much love, but also and me and her, we were supposed to work on a project, and before anything, like, we connected so hard about, you know, just us talking about the arts and stuff like that. And things didn't work out when I was on the project. And I thought that maybe that, it may just me overthink, because we never had a conversation even after that project, right? I thought that maybe she was maybe a little bit sour with me, maybe just for me. I was just creating a narrative in my head, like maybe she thinks like I wasn't serious now because things didn't go, you know, as planned for this project. And to see that she was rooting and showing love, I was like, oh, that's dope, because I thought, I created a narrative thinking that, like, maybe now since we wasn't working together on another project, that I wouldn't get the same love that I got from the beginning from her. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But it was the opposite. It was
that's something I'm really proud of. That's something I'm really proud of. And also because, you know, people like Zuleika, they know that I'm like, yeah, I'm in the business, but I'm not in the business, and I don't fuck with everybody. So if I'm
Right.
fucking with
Yeah.
somebody, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
and I appreciate that I at least have that reputation now, where it's like, okay, I'm not just,
Yeah.
oh yeah, bubble seria to be in the
How has
spotlight, you
that
know?
changed? How has this changed for you? You're 40 something years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said something along the lines when we was in that podcast where it was like, I'm very selective of what I do now.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep on doing the same thing. Like
Yep.
I don't mind doing comedy being a fool, but I also want to be in control of what I'm putting out there
Yeah.
and putting a limit on certain things of how much of it I want to put out there. So
Sure.
how has that changed for you now doing something like this, giving something a
Mhm.
chance and showing many different layers of you to now maybe you're getting the same phone calls like, hey, we need you for this dick sketch. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, how has that? How are you going? How has
How you
that
gonna
changed?
approach things,
Yeah, how you
right?
gonna approach things? Not to say like you're on top of the world, you got all these awards now, but like
no.
knowing that,
I-
like, oh shit, like
Because you could see.
I could create my own
Yeah.
stuff that's heartfelt,
Yes.
and I could also
Yeah.
work with other people heartfelt,
And
and
you
also
could write your own thing too.
so
Right,
how
right,
has
right.
this changed your mentality to
Well,
move
from
forward?
one that, yeah, like, you know, to jump piggyback on, like, absolutely now, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I can find my own lane and maybe
Mhm.
do something in the, you know, I just haven't had that I just haven't had that initial spark where it's like, oh, that's it,
Yeah.
let me go start writing it. But I feel like, yeah, no, absolutely, like I feel like I've already navigated in that land where I'm like, okay, I didn't get completely burned, I was okay, you know, nobody trashed me.
Mhm.
I do feel like I'm the older I do get, yeah, I'm still like selective. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'm still not far from a dick joke. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
but
They're always good.
but you know, and Michael and you know, I don't want to like bring the episode down, but you know, Michael Madsen's son committed suicide the other
Mhm.
day, and they were interviewing him, talking about like, you know, about him acting and the roles that he took as bad guys earlier on. You know, they made him look like he was typecasted as like the bad guy, the druggie, and all this other shit. And then he started talking about how he had to start reconsidering those roles because he's gonna have to answer to his kids, you know.
Mhm.
And I've always felt that way, regardless, you know. There's stuff that you do for art, and the comedy is like a little bit more free because it's like, you know, it's for the moment and it's in the moment, and like you're gonna see something 20 years later. It might be corny as shit, but in that time, it was funny as shit, and it rocked and it killed, and you live in that moment.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still feel like I've always, again, I'm not gonna take the drug dealer role unless it's something that's substantial, because at the end of the day, yeah, I have to answer to my kid eventually.
Right.
You know, they're gonna ask you, and it's not that you're not gonna take on projects and stuff, but no, there's stuff like there's so much that encompasses you now taking on stuff that I do want to take on stuff that's a little bit more socially conscious. I do want to take roles, you know, if people come at me with like, oh, this is some like has some sort type of social, political, or whatever statement, even if I may not be behind it 100%, if there's elements of it that I feel like, oh shit, you know, this is something that needs to be told, even if I have to do the storytelling from the bad guy's perspective, fine. It's region objective. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think more now because of this, it's allowed me to be like, no, I look at this project that just came along, and again, I'm selective as hell. And then the first project that I decide to do drama in, you know, not to be cocky, but look at where it goes, because I've believed in it, and I believed in it 100%, and I believed in where it could go. And then I said, okay, this is the project where I'm going to change direction and do this shit. But I'm still the same. I'm still like, you know, I'm not gonna, if anything, it's given me more strength to hold my principles and stay and stay in my position, you know. And if people approach me, again, if people that I know come to me and they give me work, I very rarely say no, to be honest with you, to the point where I'm like, no, it's not for me, unless it's like something that's really out there. But for the most part, yeah, I'm not gonna, if it's like I could give a fuck about a network or a big movie studio, and they come to me now, okay, listen, you're gonna pay me right. Yeah, if you're gonna pay me right, it's a different story. Let's not be hypocrites. But yeah, for the most part, like, yeah, I want to, like, the stories that I want to create are not going to be any of the stuff that they want to cast me in. You know, I want to tell stories about relationships and fatherhood and having daughters. And I want to do those stories, but, you know, they'll look at me and it's like, you know, do you want to play Snitch 1, Terrorist 3? You know, and that's fine. And I don't, I don't shit on anybody that wants to do that. I just don't
Yeah,
personally.
wanna
I
do
never
it.
want to know. And again, I've done some really fucking cool shit being selective. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten to do and work with a lot of amazing people without putting myself completely out there. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I need to protect that energy. I don't need to be, it shouldn't be so. I'll take anything, please.
Yeah. There was it's funny because there's two questions, one for Cloud and Axe, but this one I just want to share.
Mhm.
There's also doing this project also sparked like, wow, like, yeah, Latinos can create their own content. Stop bitching about why we're not there, why not there. I get it, right? We could bitch all the time,
Yeah.
but take the time to create that. If there's a void, take the time to create it. Then, if you
Yeah.
want to see something, go and create it. Take the
Yeah.
time and do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Do it.
wait for Hollywood to greenlight you or whatever. And
Do it.
yeah, there is potholes and there is things that you want to see. I get it, but
Always.
there's always, but
Yeah.
that's not the only path for you to create it.
No.
They're not showing us, or well, you show us, you show yourself to
Right.
the point where I wanted to create, because there was this podcast, this film podcast, this festival podcast that we got accepted to Indie Awards, where their thing is just strictly like a podcast film festival where you submit your films and it's monthly and they check it out and then they do a podcast about it.
Yes.
So
yes.
that sparked an idea. I was like, well, I want to see more film festivals, web series and films of color, Latino, where I want to create now a film festival, a podcast film festival like that, where we branch it, where we talk, where we get people to do with their films, and we select them and then we talk about it monthly about the films that we select. And we talk about it. And to me, I wanted to do that, one, because I want to put more directors out there of color to shout them out and see their work,
showcase them.
And I'm like, instead of me bitching about there should be more of a lane, well, I want to create that lane,
create them,
and it could be so small, right? And I was talking about Claude about that. I'm like, I want to create that. I don't know how to do it so far, but I'm going to Google it. But I want to create a lane now of like,
you know enough people, and you also
Yeah.
know enough people in the business now that it's like,
Yeah.
hey,
have you
can
worked
reach
on
out.
something?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have something to like, hey, here's my work. Now you have something to be like, yo, look, here's my work. It's a different
I created a film festival. It was only one time, but it was with projects of people that I knew, and included mine, because that was the first film I directed. Shout out to Zuleika, who helped me with one of the locations.
There you go. Right. There you go.
Like I was just like, I have a film I want to showcase, and then I'm gonna ask a couple of people that I know that have films, and
right.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
That's how it starts.
And
then
I got
you just
sponsors. I mean, at that point, it wasn't a venue, so I got everything.
Right.
Sponsors.
So yeah, that's something new and upcoming that we want to flush out. Do
that's dope.
A podcast film festival. You put web series, short films, and
I'm part. Oh no, I shouldn't talk about that. Sorry, go ahead. I just remember that I signed an NDA. I can't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to that.
What was your question?
The question for you, how has, similar to Jerry, how has this helped you now create your own stuff? Because you've been in the industry for so long as well, doing films, short films, commercial work, and another person of just like, I will always like tell you like, well, you should create your own stuff. You can put your stuff out
dope.
there. So now, how has this like motivate you, or what did you take away from this now to be like you creating your own work and you directing your own work, or you writing?
Yeah, was mom repeat stuff in?
Yeah.
So, I have written my own work in the past, but I feel like I haven't written my own work that's speaking about my true story.
Sure.
It would be hints of it, and you always told me you should write your own story. And before DAD-rahpy, I started working on it while I was pregnant, and now I'm at a point where with DAD-rahpy, I was just like, because I was working on it for it to be in the theater, but now I'm just open to shooting it.
Just do it.
And I'm just like, right now it doesn't mean that it cannot go in the theater.
Right.
But right now, I'm writing it in a way for me to shoot it.
That's it.
And that's
it.
like my goal right now.
That's
so I don't want to talk too much about
Yeah.
it, but I am working on it. Hopefully I can get it done by this year. No, it's gonna get done by this year. That's what I'm
Boom.
put out
I was about
there.
to say. Yeah, there you go.
Put it out there. But I want to shoot it. I know that I can do it because of what we did. We have the
Absolutely.
equipment.
Yeah.
I know I can do it, and I don't need that much to do it.
Yeah.
And speaking of theater, I remember one of the comments someone wrote.
Oh yeah.
Someone said,
it was
live.
Barbara.
Barbara. No,
Shout out to wasn't it
no,
Barbara?
and I was this other theater. I don't know who. She
Forget
was
me.
like, she wrote, this needs to be a play. This also can be a play.
Yes.
And I didn't think of that. And I was like, oh snap, you're right.
Absolutely could be a play.
Definitely
could be a play.
And I was like, that's another thing you could, if we revive it, differently, it could be a play again.
Yep.
I'm trying to get my star power up, guys, so then we can get some funding and producing on all these freaking projects, and let's do it.
I'm down.
Yeah, definitely could be.
Before we wrap up, I know it's late on your end and our end.
How do you feel
about what?
Yeah, how do you feel about seeing your words, all your stuff every year?
How do you feel about now, where you are now, and also going into season 2? Where's your head at?
Oh, well, I think for me is like after getting all this love, right? And then seeing, a couple things happen. I was like, wow.
We got a jump start on season 2, right?
Right.
Meaning, like as far as audience wise, which is great.
Right. Exactly. I was like, I'm grateful and thankful. And then I'm like, fuck, maybe I should just leave it at season 1 because now then I'm like,
out of pressure.
Yeah. I was like, how am I gonna fucking, same thing with the other shows I did. I was like, how am I gonna not just keep it consistent? Instead of good. And then, I just allowed myself to go through it and I flushed out, a second season of it. But and I'm still working on it. But I say that to say that, man, it's just I'm just very humbled to see like once again something that came out of love get love from many different avenues and see the changes in people and the comments from people saying, not saying like, oh, it's funny, but yo, this helped me, or
right.
Man, I was going through the same thing with my dad. He's seeing that it's touching women. Oh, now that I see the father's perspective, or even I didn't know dads think that way, or even helping them with their own father shit, where it was like, I didn't even write this for you, and I didn't write it in that perspective, but knowing that it's so universal that it was going to touch many different people and children. That left me like, damn. And then it also left me like, it was like confirmation that I knew I'm very when things come, I like to do things very basic because I always if I feed off of truth, and when I put out there and I act and it comes from a truthful place, and if I create songs come from a truthful place, that will hold enough where how I want to shoot it. Yes, we can shoot this many, even going into second season, and how there's many things we could have done to do it differently shot wise, but that wasn't my goal. My goal is it starts with the story, and I know that I have the words, and if I continue to act from a truthful place, it's going to hold well when you watch it. And I just there's just something about truth that it will reach you no matter where you are, and you will forgive certain elements of it. Where maybe the audio was kind of bad, but I wanted everything basic. You can hear it, you can see it, you can watch it, you can feel it. And if I just stuck with the basics, and I said, let that basics take me where it needs to go, and let it enhance it at any moment. So I try to keep it very simple for myself, and I like to work that way too, because you end up with a lot of great surprises, and there's a lot of strength in basics. It's kind of like that thing where you play guitar, or if you sing, or you do anything, you got to go back to the basics, and you got to keep strengthening that. So yeah, I feel great, man, and I look forward to doing another season, and I'm leaving it in the unknown again of how we're gonna do this. And I have ideas of I would like to have this more funding to do it. But I won't let that limit me, because I knew, there goes Amaya. I knew that with very little, we had so much.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, this is a great ending.
This is a great ending with Amaya.
Perfect. Amaya. She could hear us.
Yeah.
Hi, Maya.
Hi, Amaya. We want to
Hi.
ask you, how did you feel being a part of DAD-rahpy? What was that?
Well, it
Experience?
felt good because I got to spend more time with my dad, and it and also when I grow up, I want to be an actor. So
Oh, you
it
are
helped-
one already.
You are one already. You don't have to grow up with it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And also being on DAD-rahpy helps me practice when I get older
To be on camera, right?
to be on camera. Yeah.
How was it doing scenes with your dad? Like how did that feel for you to just just be yourself with your dad on camera?
It was like I felt like really if I was like really everything was like really funny. Like when like I was reading the book and dad was like, huh? And then I was like, and it was like really
It felt
fun.
normal, right? It felt
Yeah.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel nervous? Were you like nervous
Yeah,
when we were
I was
recording?
Yeah.
No.
that's a good
You
question.
weren't? You weren't? No. Because why? Because I was
You
there. Is that
didn't
why?
look nervous.
Yeah, that's
You were
just
in
natural.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make cams. See,
Nice.
this is one
Yeah.
right here.
What do you
Bye-bye.
love? What do you like about acting and creating in general? What do you love about it most?
The comedy is
Okay.
like the comedy is very funny.
Yeah.
How about if you ever had to go, which you are in season 2, but I'm not gonna make any spoilers. If you ever, which I did, if you ever had to go vulnerable, if you ever had to be vulnerable
more
and
feelings.
not
You have to
comedic,
cry on camera.
if you have
would you
to
do it?
cry, is that
Well,
something
I would
you
have to
want
think
to
of
do?
something that made me like really sad.
But she does.
Okay.
She practices tearing up. She can.
Yeah, I used to do
I
that
do
when I
that
was
too.
little, and there was always like tears
Yeah,
coming
she
down
knew
my
how to do
eye.
that. Like she's like, Dad, look, I can make myself
I used
cry.
to
'cause you
love
wanna be
doing
nice."
that.
Yeah. So, but I think, I think she could do it. I think she has
can.
it within her. What do you think? You think you could be like sad on film, like act pretend?
Yeah, it depends. I had to like think about sad things. I'm like,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
but I'm like, okay.
But what's your favorite part about acting? Is it like because you get to be other people, or is it because you get to be costume? Like, what is the part that
Well,
you get to make pretend you're somebody else? Like, what is the part that you like the most?
the part that I like the most is that like the like mostly that I get to meet new people,
Mhm.
and then a lot of people can see on the TV,
They
They
or
get to know you. They
they
get to see
they,
you.
they get to see people act on the screen.
Okay, that's
Nice.
pretty cool.
How did you, what did you think of seeing your dad in certain scenes where he would share certain things from his life? Did you know those things about him, or was it surprising, or was it also like cool to like get to know maybe your dad on a different level of certain things he was sharing in the show?
Well, some of the things that when I was watching him, I didn't know. And then once he acted it out, and I was like, now I know some more things about my dad.
Nice.
Nice.
Even though I know him a lot, I know there's some
Yeah.
things I still don't know about him.
Yeah.
You know a lot, though. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot.
What was besides acting with your dad, what was like what did you take from this show, since it's about dads in general? What was your lessons in this about
you
fatherhood in
learn?
general? What did you learn about dads in general?
What I learned about dads is that they really care for their children, and also it's good to have a talk with another dad to see
To compare problems, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yo, and on that note,
Oh wow.
That was
This
perfect,
is so
and
perfect.
That's your
Yo,
tagline right there.
and on that note,
And on that, we
that's your
end this
DAD-rahpy
episode.
recap.
Recap.